welcome to the new episode of the Destroy Manila podcast. We are with Coach JR Crisologo
Rap,
of
rap,
the
rap.
Lion's Head Boxing Academy.
Right on. Thank you.
Yeah. So,
What's going on, people? What's going on?
Welcome, sir.
Welcome to the podcast.
Magandang gabi sa lahat. I know this is a long time coming. We've spoken about this shit for a long time, and it's finally here. I mean, I wish I could have walked, in the studio that time that I was there, but it is what it is. But we're on.
So you are the owner and head coach of Lion's Head Boxing in Bangkok.
Co-owner. I run the business with my wife, obviously.
Jean, the very beautiful Jean.
Thank you.
Could you tell us how Lion's Head started? It was founded in 2009, right?
In 2009, that's correct. Well, okay, it was like this, right? Before Lion's Head, I was actually working. I've always been into sports. I mean, even though it's like a volunteer, I would volunteer my services to like a team or a specific like athlete or whatever. I was always into it, even if I was doing a 9-to-5 job, right? I remember back at that time, I was doing 9-to-5 in the school. Oh no, wait. I was working for Nike Thailand. Sorry, I used to play ball, and I was part of the Nike Thailand freestyle team back in 2005, when the street ball was really, really like, at the top of its peak. The N1 thing and whatnot. So Nike formed a freestyle team, and I was part of that. And then after that whole team kind of like split up, that I worked for Nike as a part of their research and development in Southeast Asia. And then, so I was introduced to a whole lot of like different like athletes here and there. And from there, I was working for there was a basketball team that I was working for, which is like, it's like a local league, right? But they got the imports and everything. So I was working as a person who was taping the guys, and I was a strength and conditioning coach at the same time. I had a small stint. I think it was about 3 weeks or something like that. And what happened was, I think I added some boxing training with these guys, right? And they really loved it, and they were asking for it more and more. So I was thinking in my head, oh, maybe this is something I could do, a little bit later. But the funniest thing, man, remember, I'm only 5'10". I have to hold pads for somebody who's like 6'6", 6'7". I don't know how I managed to do that, to be honest. And my arms are still intact, right?
With great difficulty, we assume.
With great difficulty, of course. I was looking for stilts. I was looking to just like prop myself on a wall and not move. Okay? I was like, you just punch, But anyway, so I started off with that, and then I founded the name of Lion's Head before it was Lion's Head was actually Boxed Up. So I found, I started this little thing, and this is So Jean introduced me to one of her classmates who was interested in boxing. Believe it or not, most people don't know this, but I used to charge 200 baht, which is about, say, 400 pesos or something like that.
Yeah.
For a 2-hour training session.
Wow.
Right? But this is how I will advise our listeners later on with the marketing and whatnot. So everybody was like, how do you live off 200 baht or whatnot? I said, look, you got to understand. At that time, I didn't have any experience in marketing. I didn't have any experience in advertising. I had no social media skills, but I had two things. I had time and I had energy and I had some skills. So that was my investment. So the 200 baht was simply just to get back home from work. And, there's no way I can live off 200 baht. But I was spending that time and money and introducing myself to people in a sense that, oh, there's this trainer who's like only charging this much for this much hours. And he's super cheap, but he's good. That was the initial introduction, my introduction to the boxing community in Thailand, in Bangkok. And then as the years went by, the months or the years, I would slowly increase the price by 50 or 100 or whatever, and lower the time by like an hour 45, hour 30, and nobody complained because everybody was like, oh shit, there's this dude. It was a word of mouth. I never I hardly posted anything on social media. It was a word of mouth. I just made sure I gave it 110% all the time. So that's how it kind of started. And then my first big break was, there's a rap group in Thailand. This is when I was still doing music at some point. And I knew these rappers, and he trained with me. People saw me and whatnot. I never really trained, like, I would say, like, in a sense, normal people. I would say normal people, but the reason why I was lucky with the whole marketing was because I met all the right people that will spread that word to other people of their stature. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Like,
So it's basically like celebrity training, I guess, right?
Yeah. A celebrity to a celebrity, a businessman to a businessman, hotel owners, financiers.
Wow.
Wow.
So I got pretty lucky with that. And then in the expat community, when I trained my very first white collar boxer, like, he really dominated. So everybody was like, oh, who's this coach? So that's how it kind of whole started with, and then obviously the pros came in a little bit later. I think I started my first pro career in 2012. So that's when it got ugly. But after that, I just kind of like continued. I quit from the whole basketball conditioning. The gym came by because, was decided that we decided to like put up the gyms because 4 years ago, I was the top trainer in Bangkok who had, as far as like clientele wise, I had 42 one-on-one clients all to myself within Bangkok.
Wow.
And
that's a lot.
Yeah. And you basically, you have to give up your life. Like, I was doing 12-hour, like, session. Shifts and shit like that. But it was what I did. I had to do what I needed to do to get my name out there.
Were you the only one training them, JR? Like, nobody was like under you, like.
Were you the only coach?
Nobody at all. No, that was all me. I have a very, very bad trust issue when it comes to like my own product, I guess. Like, like, I don't like anybody sabotaging it at a very early stage. Like, even now, man, like, I make sure that all my trainers are on point. They go through my mid-master system, my coaching system, so that everybody's uniform when it comes to like teaching clients.
Yeah. Initially, you said you didn't want to just teach your system to anyone because, you didn't want a misrepresentation of sorts of the system. How did you decide that, it's time to pass it on to others? And how does the thing actually work? How do you do things there?
I started passing it on because, locally first, because, man, it's funny how life is sometimes. Like, when I started, I was rejected by 22 gyms.
Wow.
By trying to teach that system to their fighters. They said, no, we don't do that, blah, blah, blah. It's not going to be useful and whatnot. And, like, with God's blessing, man, I'll tell you something, right? When I started that whole thing, I have 17 graduates, level 1 graduates from 6 different gyms that rejected me before.
Wow.
Well, that showed them,
wow.
certainly.
Ain't that something? No, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I might talk very bold and very boisterous and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, ability goes a long way when it comes to these kind of things. You gotta believe in what you do, and you're doing it right, and you keep the progress, and one day is gonna turn around. And like I said, shit, man, I live in a country where boxing and Muay Thai or whatever is king. How do I separate myself from other trainers?
More so teach their trainers how to train.
Right. So I was like, okay, how do I do this? So believe it or not, I was pulling off like 11, 12-hour like session days when I used to train out, like without the gym. And every single day, most people didn't know this, every single day I would reserve an hour and a half for myself. I would eat and study whatever I could study for an hour, and I would take a nap for half an hour. And that is religious. I'm talking like 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Wow.
Knowledge is like oil now. That's people. Information and knowledge is what people are buying you off for now. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so to me, I was like, okay. And then, the whole 10,000 hour rule, right? You do something so much and you keep progressing at it. Next thing you know, like, people are like, oh shit, okay, I see what you're doing. That's pretty nice. And then you get recognized. But going back to your question, like, what decided, what happened? Why I decided to like pass it on was because there was so many upcoming trainers in Thailand, aspiring trainers, that is, that wanted to do good in the industry. They just don't have a proper guide. Like, the Mayweather style that I kind of like adapted,
Yeah.
you know, with the pad work and whatnot, became it was a progression later on. Obviously, I added my own style to it, but a lot of people frown upon it because they're like, oh, like, I know a lot of like even one athletes, they frown upon that style. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, you're not gonna fight like that, blah 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 blah. And that's cool. I understand where they're coming from, but I'm like, look, not every trainer trains all fighters.
Yeah.
Not every client is a fighter. And some of them, like at the end of the day, you can't do the same old thing. Like as a person who's in the service industry, you always have to be progressive with the things you do. And I was the pioneer of that style in Thailand. That's why everybody was like, holy shit, what is this? What's going on? And then I was like, okay, maybe I'll teach some of it a little here and there to some trusted people. And yeah, man, but my defense is like, look, to me, that wasn't only the only thing I did. Like I did that for promotions, I did that for cardio, I did that for. There's still a lot of like benefits you can use out of it, but translating that to a fighting style that you can actually apply was what made Mid Master unique.
Mm-hmm. And this Mid Master style of yours, and your reputation, the reputation that you've built in the combat sports community in Thailand, is that also the main reason why you have this collaboration with Fairtex Training Center now?
I guess it's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, man,
that's a very big thing. Getting you as a trainer for Stamp Fairtex.
I still haven't been able. Look, I've done a lot of big things in my life, but believe it or not, I still haven't been able to process the whole partnership between Lion's Head and Fairtex, simply because of this, right? So we were originally sponsored by Everlast, but let's just say that our vision didn't really like match up anymore, so we decided to like kind of separate ways, right? And what happened was I was like, okay, so who am I going to work with next? Blah 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 blah. And I was thinking of contacting Venom in Pattaya. Okay. So because we had a fight down the province, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna drive down there anyway, so I might as well call them. This is like 3 days before the fight. The day after I had this in my thought, I get a call from this guy named Kong, right? He's like, hi, my name's Kong. I'm from Fairtex, blah blah blah, and we're releasing our Western boxing like equipment, and we want you guys to be the face of it.
Wow.
Wow.
That's like Michael Jordan's Nike or something.
Right. And this is what I said. I was like, believe it or not, ask the guy that's handling our account. His name is Kong. My first question was like, hey, is this a prank?
Are you for real?
I mean, like, of all the gyms in Thailand.
You should have asked him, are you actually from Venom?
Yeah, from Fairtex. So I was like, is this real? Like, what's going on? And he's like, yeah. He explained to me what was going on. He's like, and then we want to sponsor you just like that.
Wow.
And the crazy thing is, there's no budget in the sponsorship. Like literally, it's an open budget sponsorship deal.
So there's a chance like there's gonna be a collaboration for equipment between Lion's Head and Fairtex.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, wow.
That's happening soon enough. I mean, not soon enough, but like somewhere down the line. That's definitely happening. But what boggles me the most, because I'm thinking to myself, okay, you know what? Fine, maybe because we are there's not a lot of like pure boxing gyms in Thailand and in Bangkok and whatnot. But then you have to think about it yourself too. I mean, you have to think a little bit deeper than that surface like thought that I just told you guys. Like a brand as big as Fairtex won't just go for anybody who, even if they're doing Western boxing, who hasn't laid down the foundation for the groundwork for that branding, that reputation, and all the things that comes along with it.
I'm pretty sure they put some thought into it, bro.
Yeah.
Right. So I thought to myself, hey, maybe it's actually paid off. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm sure it
you know,
is. I mean, it's Fairtex. It's not just some
yeah.
brand.
And then
It's
like,
the years of training and grinding come to fruition, bro.
right. No, for sure, man. Like I called my wife and she was dumbfounded. She was just, what? Are you serious? I was like, yeah. And then I said, yeah, I guess. But I'm not really sure if it's still true or not. I got to confirm things again.
Yeah, it's one of those things that until you sign the contract, you won't really like it.
Right,
Doesn't really
right.
sink in, right?
Mm.
So
So
this
you know
is
that's how.
But JR, we really want to know how good is Stamp.
yeah, we do.
Did you see that meme that I posted?
I saw, man.
Yo, this girl hit me, like she gave me a low kick, and my perspective on guys' low kick changed.
Wow, is that powerful?
I've been low kicked before. I've sparred, you know, like Muay Thai. I've sparred MMA. I've sparred kickboxing, and I've been hit. I mean, I don't have the biggest of legs, but I mean, unless it's like Edward Folayang or something like that kicking me on the leg, then I'd be like, okay. Stamp is if you want to know how Stamp is, I would give it to you in the most brief but yet satisfying way or manner. She's a fucking sponge. She absorbs things. But what happened was that unfortunately I was not able to spend that much time with her because obviously I'm in Bangkok and I only can drive down there every Tuesdays and then Wednesday morning. So they gave me 4 weeks. I only averaged 8 hours with her. I mean, I only had a maximum 8 hours with her.
Wow.
Okay. How far is like the logistical thing? Like
Hour and a half.
there?
Hour
and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not that bad, but then it's my day off. So, you know, I'm coming off like a hard week and whatnot. But let me tell you something. This is one thing that most people don't know about Stamp, about how beastly she is. She trains with me in the cage for 2 hours straight.
Straight?
She would hold on. There's no rounds. She would train with me for 2 hours straight. She would every now and then she would go to her other trainer for a little massage and some water and get back into it. Nobody's sitting down.
Wow.
What a beast.
Talk about work ethics.
My old Filipino ass got tested because I'm like, I got to ride with this girl. Like, I'm fucking, you know, I'm used to like 10, 15 rounds or whatnot, but 2 hours straight of training. Man, I felt like I lost like 2.5 kilos per single hour, 2 hours.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. But you know, like these kind of things, it makes you understand why she's a champion and why she has a championship mentality, because you know she grinds, like she really works for what she wants. And it's not because
yeah, and all of these, the deal with Fairtex, and now even working with a 2-sport champ like Stamp is like a prime example of doing your thing so good they're all gonna go to you without you needing to go to them.
Thank you. I mean, obviously that's a huge compliment coming from you guys, but this is the same thing that I really want to impart to everybody else. I mean, these kind of things, it's not just like a blessing that came to me from that got dropped off or something like that, but you know, you're gonna have to work your way into it or around it, whichever the case may be. And what I'm offering is that I'm not necessarily having you go through the entire process of what I went through. Choose the perfect topics for you to learn, and you know, get on that same thing that I did, but it's just on a different approach.
Yeah, it's very revealing in terms of like you've already blazed the way, and now you're making it easier for the ones who follow you. We've seen how you've already started to pivot into online training, JR.
Right.
Like, how can you help? What is your advice to people coaches who still don't know how to move into that online space, online training?
hit me up.
There
Send me a message.
you go. But
I'm not even
has it
charging you
worked for
nothing.
you
I'm
guys?
not charging you nothing. Hit me up.
There you go. You just go and ask Coach JR. But has it worked? How has the whole
How has
online
people been
thing
accepting
into that space?
idea?
Actually, it's a 50-50 thing, right? I mean, most of a lot of the times that people come to me is because they want to get the whole pad work experience that I've put out there.
Yeah,
They want
exactly.
to get the personal one-on-one, like, in your face type of like, like training, right?
Mhm.
But then there are these people also who's like, I can't be choosy because of what's going on at the moment.
Yeah.
I'd
Definitely.
rather,
Everybody's hurting.
right. But then again, I don't teach off like just giving somebody fucking like programs and shit.
Mhm.
I'm actually on the, I'm on the line call, I'm on the Zoom call or whatever the case may be. And
Mhm.
they're getting the exact same thing, obviously, except the pad work. But 95% of whatever else I do, I pour into that thing. Because I'm thinking to myself, right? I said, okay, how am I going to structure this and whatnot, blah, 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 blah. But I figured, you know what? Let me try doing the same thing and giving them almost the exact same experience as what they have in the gym, except for obviously for the distance. And it's worked out pretty well for me.
That is like the purest translation of what you do now being brought into an online space. It's the passion still, right?
Yeah, because you can, okay, it's like this, right? You can be any level of trainer, and sometimes, like, okay, you're thinking about, okay, what can be done to entice the person, make them interesting and whatnot. But remember, if you guys must know, our gym is not in a prime location. It is inside a very deep street that you don't even know. You wouldn't even think there's a boxing gym in there. Right? It's hella traffic around the area. But we have people that's been coming in since the day it opened, or even before.
You even got celebrities training there.
Right. And it's not like an air-conditioned gym too. But you see, it's funny because I've heard this joke a lot of times from my clients. They're like, you've become like this hermit that people have to go up on the mountains to seek fucking like wisdom and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it kind of sounds like. I'm like, that's a good comparison, because you really have to like battle your way into traffic, into road constructions, all that type of shit, right? And it's so deep in the soil that you don't even. It looks like it's a warehouse. So you even think there's boxing in there, but because like I said, if you stay true to what you do and you always learn, because a lot of people stop learning. That's the problem. Like, they're just, okay, I know how to pad. I know how to make it look good, but it's all surface knowledge.
That's true. They rest on their laurels.
And people can smell through that now. People can see through that now. Like, I believe that fitness clients nowadays are a whole lot smarter than 10 years ago. Because they want to get the value for their buck. Not like some trainer who's always like has his hair gelled up, look the tightest fucking like extra small shirt, and he's like he know for himself he's an XL, he'd be wearing XS shirts and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And staring at booties all the time.
Extra small shirt.
You know what I'm talking about, man. You know you're a fucking XL when it comes to a normal shirt, but you be wearing all these XS sizes and shit just for your X to pop out and whatnot. So
without the sleeve too.
Huh? With it rolled up sleeve too. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'll tell you a funny story, right? So I was invited by a friend who to his gym. He got this exclusive gym. A lot of celebrities going over this called True Fitness or something like that. It's shut down now. It's in the heart of the city. So I come out there, and they have the boxing ring in front, and they have the bags, they have the gloves, and I'm like, oh, I just want to lift a little, right? And my friend was like, yo, let's do some boxing since you know some boxing and whatnot. And the funny thing is, one of the trainers come up to me, is like, oh, you want to try? I'm like, yeah, okay. And then you can tell that even before we start, he's already downsizing me that, oh, I know boxing and you don't. right?
Yeah.
And so I played along. I said, okay, all right. So I started hitting like I was a beginner, I don't know shit about boxing at all.
Mhm.
And this other guy who was the bigger guy, like straight up bodybuilding type motherfucker, right? He's like, no, let me get him because he's big, maybe he will hit hard with me. So I said, oh, can you put on the vest, the body vest? He said, oh, you want to do body shot? I was like, yeah, a little, I just want to try it out. So he put on the vest, right? I said, okay. So he was letting me crack the pads first. Okay, give me a hook to the body.
Okay.
I loaded up so fucking hard, and I released that body shot to his liver. Because the suit straightens you up, right?
Yeah.
When you get hit in the body, you would usually have to like curl up.
Yeah.
He couldn't fucking curl up. He was trying to breathe, standing up, and he couldn't catch his breath. Like he looked like he had fucking COVID and shit. He's like, I was the funniest shit ever.
Oh, bro, you should put that in one of your videos, bro.
Yeah, I know, right? Actually, yeah. And because trainers, like in that sense, like they're about that, you know what I'm saying? Like, fuck, man, when's the next hot girl gonna come? When's the next hot girl? If you're I saw a dude one time gave a 60-year-old woman who's it's her first time working out, let her do a bench press.
Oh my God.
Bro, I came
Come
up
on.
to this guy. I swear to God, this is how confrontational I was. It was my friend. It was like, yo, please don't. I come up to the guy. I said, if you don't get this woman off this bench, I will fucking smack you with this fucking bar. That's what I exactly told him. And he was so confused. Like, I was like, where did you get your certification? On YouTube? And that's when everybody started kind of like hurtling around us because I was making the scene. I was like, who the fuck gives a 60-year-old first time like bench press a bench press with an Olympic bar? Well, you have no idea how many trainers I've called out in my career, but I called it out not to like embarrass them, but to say, look, it's not too late for you to actually learn something, like learn a thing or two.
Yeah,
Learn a thing or two and stop maybe killing your clients.
Yeah. Somebody has to call them that.
Like old grandma, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was like, yo, it's funny how the fitness industry is so saturated with these kind of trainers. That's why I'm focusing a lot on trainers who actually have skills, but just doesn't know how to like put themselves out there. Because these guys, they put themselves out there, but they don't actually have what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
That is so true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had one trainer before, like I had one guy before who questioned my credentials and actually like challenged me to sparring. Like a lot of these things don't come out on social media because it doesn't need to. He said, "Oh, what are your credentials?" I'm like, you really want to go over there? Because he's like, "Oh, I don't see any like belts in this gym and whatnot." I'm like, I just rolled my eyes and I'm like, okay, well, here's my 2014, 2015 like WBC recognition. He's my recognition award. Here's my 2 belts, middleweight and like and fucking light heavyweight, and then they get stuck. And they're like, okay, all right. And then some guys would just like, okay, coach, you seem to be just sitting down a lot during classes or whatnot. Let's test your hands. I'm like, all right,
That's the craziest thing that you can do.
Yeah, but my thing is, I never ever put my ego up as a trainer. Like, look, if you challenge me, I'm going to say no first because I don't think it's a good decision. And second, you don't call me out in front of my students.
Yeah,
it's so rude.
It is rude. It's
very rude
in my gym too. So I'm gonna fucking channel out my Gracie, my what do you call it? My Gracie spirit, and have me step in that gym. Like, and I'm like, look, like, I'm not even gonna move a lot. My experience teaches me so much that I don't need to fucking bounce around. I just wait for you to throw something. and I'm like, look, I always tell them the rule. So there's one rule, right? Except for the boxing rule, said, hit me the way you want to be hit.
Mm-hmm.
If you still ever like kind of went a little bit more playful than you're supposed to, and you nudge me with something hard, and I already told you not to, then you got to prepare for the consequences. It's really as simple as that.
Prepare to stare
So
up at the lights.
but
Prepare to stare
Say
up
what?
at the lights.
yeah, but I never hit anybody in the heart of the head, bro. Like it's always
It's always a
Yeah.
that's
body.
always body shots. I'm like, oh, you got a 6-pack, huh? All right,
That six
let's
pack.
see. You got a 6-pack outside, but that liver don't got no motherfucking 6-pack. That's just soft. I
Wow.
just have to find the right spot. That's all.
Exactly. Well, thanks.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much, JR.
Yeah.
Like, we appreciate your
You know-
generosity. We appreciate your time. You've given
No
so
worries,
much
man.
words
We
of
went a little
wisdom
bit
to
over the time today.
not only us, but also to the boxing community in
Yeah.
Southeast Asia and the Philippines.
Where can people reach you? Your social media and everything.
You can reach me on IG. That's the easiest way. It's BKKLION, Bangkok Lion. I also got my Facebook, JR Lion, but I don't really respond to like messages there until unless I actually know you. But for people who's trying to get at me for boxing and all these type of things, it's always the Bangkok Lion Instagram account. And yeah, man, I really want to say I really appreciate both of you guys for spending this time with me during this quarantine. And man, like if only I think my parting words would be, if only the trainers or whoever is struggling right now would just kind of like open their eyes a little bit bigger than what it is now and look beyond what they have. There's definitely so much opportunities out there. And once again, I am not asking for money. I don't give a fuck about money. It's not that I'm a multimillionaire. No, like if I can do it like this, it don't mean that you can't. It's not even. You don't need a 4-year course.
Exactly.
Hey, they call. Remember that movie? Hitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the
Hitch, yeah.
Hitch of boxing.
You're the hitch of box. So just slide into Coach JR's DMs and he
Yeah,
will help
man.
you.
Just make sure you don't put no nudes in there or nothing. I got a wife, you know what I'm saying?
Just pictures of noodles, no nudes, okay?
Noodles is okay. Food is always good. But yeah, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys.
You guys have a promo right now going on for the pandemic, right? 20% off or something like that? Can you tell us
Right.
about
We got 20% off on all packages, and we're continuing our fight against obviously the virus, the economy, and shit like that. A lot of gyms are closing down, unfortunately, but we trying to unite everybody. I had a conversation with a lot of the gym owners, especially the martial arts gym owners out here a couple of days ago to find what's best, what's the next best step after this whole thing. And yeah, we're just uniting right now, and but right now, to be honest, my main mission is to actually teach the business side of things now. Like I think I can say I'm pretty secure with being a coach. Although I'm not Freddie Roach or anything like that. But at the end of the day, like I just gotta make sure that if I don't reach that level, that I can still reach a level where I can feed my family and be comfortable with life, and also share the knowledge that I was able to accumulate over the years to aspiring trainers, to to everybody else.
Awesome. That's Coach JR Lion, uplifting not only the boxing industry, but all of us.
Right on, brothers, right on.
Thank you for listening to part 1 of this 2-part episode with Coach Jerry Crisologo of Lion's Head Boxing Academy, Bangkok.